Good evening, visitors. Welcome to the Australian War Memorial's last post ceremony. My name is Lexa Peterson, and joining us today from the Australian Army is Sergeant Jeanette McNeely. As part of the memorial's commemorations to mark the 80th anniversary of the end of the Second World War, tonight we will share the story of the Battle of Slater's Knoll. 80 years ago today, the Battle of Slater's Knoll ended after 9 days of fierce fighting between Australian and Japanese forces on the island of Bougainville in New Guinea. At the start of 1945, the Japanese 6th Division occupied Bougainville, having taken control of the island from American troops in November 1944. Australian troops organised separate drives from the north, the south and centre to remove Japanese forces. As the main attack pushed south towards Benin in late March 1945, a force of about 3,300 Japanese from the Japanese 6th Division, supported by concentrated artillery, launched a massed counterattack at Slater's Knoll near the Puriata River. Using armour and artillery, the Australian 7th Brigade fought until the final assault on the night of the 4th and 5th of April, when 129 men from the 25th Infantry Battalion repulsed over 1,000 Japanese soldiers. Today, we remember the Battle of Slater's Knoll. We pay our respects to the men and women commemorated on the Roll of Honour and to the survivors who returned home. We warmly welcome the delegation representing the Federation of Rwandan Communities in Australia and the delegation representing the Kraithia Association of Australia. We welcome the veterans who have served, those that are still serving, and the families that love and support them. The live stream of this ceremony is made possible by the Returned and Services League of Australia and the RSL and Services Clubs Association. We welcome members who are watching the broadcast of this ceremony across Australia. During this evening's ceremony, wreaths will be laid at the base of the pool of reflection by visitors to the memorial. If you're able, please stand and join in singing the national anthem.
Australians, oh, let us rejoice, for we are one and free. We've golden soil and wealth for toil. Our home is got by sea. Our land abounds in nature's gifts of beauty, rich and rare. In history's page, let every stage advance Australia fair. In joyful strains, then let us sing, advance Australia fair.
Visitors who are able, please be seated. The Australian War Memorial was the vision of Charles Bean, Australia's first World War official historian. Bean landed with the Australian troops at Gallipoli and stayed with them at the front through to the end of the war. The idea of this national memorial and museum came to him at Pozières, France, in the depths of the bloody fighting of 1916. Bean's idea was that this would be a place where families and friends could mourn loved ones buried in faraway places. It would also be a place that could help all Australians understand what these men and women had endured and what they had done for us. Bean's vision, to which we remain true, is best expressed as inscribed at the entrance to the memorial's galleries. Here is their spirit, in the heart of the land they loved, and here we guard the record which they themselves made. Tonight, we will read the story behind just one of those on the Roll of Honour, which lists the names of more than 103,000 men and women who've given their lives for us in war and on operations for over a century. But first, we present a lament. Flowers of the forest, wreaths or floral tributes will now be laid at the base of the pool of reflection.
Today, we remember and pay tribute to Private Connell Gavin Elsley. Connell Elsley was born on the 29th of June 1925 in the Newcastle suburb of Stockton, the son of Harold and Valerie Elsley. Connell went on to work as a drover, woodcutter, living in Mudgee in the central west of New South Wales. A month after he turned 18, on the 30th of July 1943, Connell Elsley enlisted in the militia. He was in a training battalion that August until he joined the 25th Battalion at the end of July 1944. He was found absent without leave on the 9th of April 1944, but this would be the only disciplinary infraction on his military record. As a member of the militia, rather than the 2nd Australian Imperial Force, Private Elsley was not permitted to serve outside Australia or its territories. New Guinea, however, which was the scene of fierce fighting between Australian and Japanese forces, was just such an Australian-administered mandated territory. Elsley embarked on the troopship Duntroon on the 19th of August 1944 as the 25th Battalion deployed to Madang in New Guinea for garrison duties. In November, as part of the 3rd Division, the battalion was committed to the Bougainville campaign, in which the Australians had taken over from the American forces. Elsley and his comrades travelled from Madang to Torokina and then took part in offensive actions such as the Battle of Pearl Ridge in December and the Battle of Slater's Knoll in April. As the main Australian offensive pushed south towards Buin, a force of about 3,300 Japanese from the Japanese 6th Division, including artillery and other supporting elements, launched a counter-attack. It concentrated on Slater's Knoll near the Puriata River in Bougainville's southern sector on the 6th of April. The 7th Brigade was involved here, but it was Elsley's 25th Battalion that was the most heavily engaged. Over the course of the battle, the Australians counted over 600 Japanese killed and estimated that another 1,000 had probably been wounded out of a force of at least 2,400 troops. In the days after the battle, the Australians continued to carry out patrolling operations. As the clean-up continued, Private Connell Elsley was killed at 7:15 a.m. on the 13th of April when a booby trap he was lifting, a 3-inch mortar bomb fitted with a trip mechanism, was accidentally fired. A court of inquiry held in the field found that death was practically instantaneous, resulting from multiple penetrating injuries of the head, neck and chest. Elsley was well practiced in lifting these traps, having done so on a number of occasions on the previous days. Connell Elsley was 19 years old. Buried near where he fell, his remains were later reinterred in Port Moresby, Boama War Cemetery, where they lie today under the inscription chosen by his grieving family: "His duty nobly done, ever remembered." His name is listed on the Roll of Honour on my left amongst more than 40,000 Australians who died whilst serving in the Second World War. His photograph is displayed today beside the pool of reflection. This is but one of the many stories of service and sacrifice told here at the Australian War Memorial. We now remember Private Connell Gavin Elsley, who gave his life for us, for our freedoms, and in the hope of a better world.
Please stand for the reading of the ode and sounding of the last post.
They shall grow not old, as we that are left grow old. Age shall not weary them, nor the years condemn. At the going down of the sun, and in the morning, we will remember them.
We will remember them.
lest we forget.
Lest we forget. We leave you this evening with the words of the memorial's founder, Charles Bean. Many a man lying out there at Pozières or in the low scrub at Gallipoli with his poor, tired senses barely working through the fever of his brain has thought in his last moments, well, it's over, but in Australia they will be proud of this. Ladies and gentlemen, that concludes the last post ceremony. On behalf of the Director, staff and volunteers, thank you for visiting the Australian War Memorial today and for your continued support during the Memorial's development project. We wish you all a very pleasant evening.